Okay, so like I was saying before the stream probably cut, the idea is we are working on something for Sydney. It has the data for students in an Excel sheet. Let me see if I can bring that up. Sorry about the sound of the keyboard, it sounds weird. He has the data for his students in an Excel sheet and they send out the reports as PDF. So you're trying to build a website where he can upload this Excel sheet and to generate PDF reports for all the students therein. As you can see, each subject is a sheet in the what Excel people call it workbook. It's a sheet in the workbook. So we take each sheet and create. We'll take each student and then we get their scores per subject, where each subject is a sheet, and then you see it as we go along. Okay. So first we would like to do is have some plan. I don't need you anymore. Okay. So let's create a readme to have our plan. Readme.md. MD is markdown. You want to know what that is, and always Google it. Okay. So the school is called Kiddie class, if I'm correct. So that's our title. Kiddie class something, I don't know. So let's have our steps. So first off, or the way I see it going is we'll have the user will have some website where user gets, that's not the spell, gets a website where they build the PDF to the backend then generates the PDFs. It's multiple PDFs, so probably zip PDFs, puts then zip, then returns to the user asset downloaded. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that would be easy enough to do. Just click a button, upload a file, get a zip. Pretty simple. Teachers should be able to understand how to do that. So the first thing we need to do is, I like to work back to front. I have a general idea, but I like to work from the back end first, since that kind of sometimes influences how the front end would be. I think a better way to do it is to do the front end, to concentrate on the user experience first, then build the back end accordingly, but I'm lazy, so yeah. So we do the back end, and that should include how do we use numbers? So let's have checkboxes. So we need something that will receive the Excel file. Pass the data into a more to a more friendly format. Generate ZPDF. Create let's not do catch-up too much. So that's the plan. We'll go along and then take off as we go. Trying to get this on Git, and it's so I will get this on GitHub. So we have like the in steps like I was supposed to program. So for those who want to know, GitHub is a repository where we hold our code. So you can access it on various systems and for others to read your code. Ideally, you're supposed to work in steps, so each step is a commit. So yeah, we see as we go. So I think the first comment I will do is to add the readme. So this is not a programming tutorial. I'm trying to go through the things I do. If something is a bit complicated, I'll explain, but if not, you can ask me later. So you're adding readme, you are staging the readme file, commit, the message, readme. No, this is not David Slate today. Today, what do I David? And it wants me to give my name. Are you happy now, Git? Hey. Don't create shit. Alright. Hey. Fuck this. There we go. So now let's push this change. I'm gonna start No. Fuck that. I can push it later. Okay, so we have our first file in Git. Hooray. Okay, so I took the liberty of creating this utility function prior. I was thinking of explaining it, but let's not think too much about what it's doing. So basically this file reads the Excel sheets and then creates an array of objects, an array of JSON objects. JSON is JavaScript object notation. It's how we deal with data in JavaScript. So let's say if we want information about me, it will be in an object. So this is how we indicate an object in JavaScript. So the name would be David, age would be 27, and so on and so forth. So an array would be a collection of this. So we have an array of various objects. Yes, that's basically JSON. Once again, you can read about it or ask me some more. But in every programming language, usually you have, containers of data. Programming is basically data and algorithms. You have your data and some steps you want to take it through. So in this case, we have our data in the form of Excel. We want to change it into data we can deal with in JavaScript. runs it through our algorithms, then print a PDF. The algorithm is what I wrote out in the reading. Basically, that's it. Okay. So, like I said, all this would be on a website. So to have a website, the first thing we would need is a web server. Then I'm running the code in Node.js to create a web server in Node.js. Usually we use something called Express. Express is a... What is Express? Is it a library? Is it a web server? Let's see what they say they are. Express.js. Node.js web application framework. Yes, so that's what Express is. I said it. So let's install Express into our project. We need Express. So while that goes along to install, let's go and copy code. That's another thing programmers do all the time. Copy all our code because we are lazy as fuck. Yay, code. So our entry point is going to be index.js. Doesn't have to be called index.js, but yeah, that's what we usually call it. So this line pulls in the Express library. This one instantiates the server, so what is called app here is a server. Let's call it server so we don't confuse it. So this is our server. It says to listen on port 3000. I'll explain this as we go along. So we say the port we are listening to is port 3000. Those who have done a bit of programming know this is a variable instantiation. So port now holds the value of 3000. If we didn't do this, we'll have to be typing 3000 everywhere, and who has the time to do that? So instead of example app, this is server listening on port 3000. So let me add start script here. This is just a shortcut for me. Type start. So I don't have to be typing node index.js. But someone would say how much. I'll be typing npm start there. I mean node npm start node index is about the same thing. So yes, something we do. We tell ourselves to make it easier, but we do it because that's what everybody does. So yeah, server listening on port 3000. So if we go to our browser, localhost port 3000. He says hello world. Yeah. I think we are lying. Let's change hello world to say hey. This is on my job PC, forgive me. Modus ponens. Restart our server. Modus ponens, yeah. So server.get blah 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 basically means when the user hits the route slash, send them this text. Now slash is when there's nothing else. So let's say you wanted to hit the endpoint foobar. The endpoint, like the path. You can have some website slash contact us, or contact is the path. In this case, foobar is our path. So let me restart our server. And now if I go to slash, you see there's nothing there. You just cannot get. If I go to foobar, go to premium. So basically that's it. So the idea is when the user visits the base page, eventually once you host this, it won't be on localhost 3000, it will be on some server somewhere, which I don't know yet. We want them to see some page. So the easiest way to do this would be, at this point we show them some HTML page, and this a lot of you have experienced HTML, so we'll have to do the HTML page at some point. Now on that page there will be an upload button. We are talking too much. Let's just build a page. So let's create our index.html, and because we are lazy, like I mentioned, yay. So this will be Kiddie. The title of the page is Kiddie class report generation. Okay. So we have our page. What do we want on the page? What do we want on the page? Well, we definitely want a button. I want a skeleton of the page to work with. Excel sheet. Okay. So now, I'm not sure how this will work, but let's try. So instead of res.send the text, as res.send take a file. Okay, actually that's see the example, res.send p.some html blah 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 blah. Interesting. So we need to send the HTML down, but that's text. Index.html is a page. But I'm wondering if I just send a page, what would happen? But how do you know it's a page? So this is probably not going to work. Let's see. They have res.render. What does that take? Res.render takes view blah blah blah. Oh yes, we don't want that either. So we need to get the HTML as a string, which isn't that hard to do. In Node.js we have a library called fs. Fs comes with Node.js, so we don't have to install it like Express. So we pull in fs. I'm going to read the file here, but that's very bad for the page. I mean, we don't need to read the file unless you requested this page. So now we open up our function. Initially it was just one line, so we didn't need the braces. But since now more is going to go in here, we open it up. I'll try and leave comments as I go along, so you see why I'm doing what I am doing. So first off, we read the HTML file. See, I'll start fixing the typos before I say let's go. So we read the HTML file and then send it down to the client. So HTML content. This is called, what is this called? Camel casing, where you start with a small letter and follow up with a capital letter. So the very first letter will be small, then the next word will be capital. Some people are animals and they like doing this. I think this is called, I forgot what it's called. Some people also do keyboard casing. But be a good programmer and use camel casing. Okay. So fs has a function called read file. Read file doesn't read the file synchronously. It reads it and tells you the data later. That's a nice way of doing it. You can read more on callbacks and synchronous functions, but for today, for once, we want to read it synchronously because we want the user to wait until the file has been read. The user should keep quiet. So index.html, we read that. So now HTML content will have it as text, or it's just a buffer. Then we return, what was this, res.send. Res.send HTML content. So let's restart our server and see if it worked. No error, no error. The path was full bar, which we have to remove. So it sent it, but it sent it as a buffer. So you see this probably downloaded a buffer. Yep, so it sent it but not in the way we expected, which my IDE warned me, but I was kind of stupid. So you see when you mouse over HTML content, it says buffer because it read the file, but we did not give it an encoding. So basically every file you see has an encoding. There's the file content, but the encoding tells the PC or the system how to read it. So you see we have options. There's another object like I mentioned in JavaScript, and one of the parameters is encoding. So encoding is UTF-8. You can also get read on that, mainly because I'm not even sure exactly what it means. So if we restart the server, this should work now. Please work. Yay! Now we have a button that does nothing. Okay. Yes, I know what I'm doing. Okay. So let's remove this being toolbar. Then make another comment. So we have the various steps. So at this point, the main change we have is the index.js and the index.html. And what did we do? We added a basic HTML page and a path to render it. So I'm going to check out our log. See that's step 1 where we added a readme, then step 2. So we keep adding a commit. So in any case, if we realize something goes wrong, you can go deleting commits and stuff. That's what they tell you, but nobody does it. Okay, so we have this rendered the page, that's fine. So on this page, when I click upload Excel button, as we all expect, it should show you the dialog where you pick the file, blah blah blah, and it sends the file onto the backend. So index.js is the backend, index.html is the front end. I'm trying to keep it quite simple. So you take the file from the front end, sends it to the backend, which that's there. Logology with the files and then okay. So with web servers, when the button on the page is clicked, it will send it to another endpoint. So let me show you where do we get endpoints? Where can I put endpoint? I don't know where I can show you an endpoint. Damn it. You go have some over here. They don't have some. Finding hard, it's hard showing an example. So basically whatever you do goes to some website somewhere. So if you're on say kiddieclass.com or whatever, you click that button, it will go to another endpoint, which is like I mentioned, one of these on the server. So we'll have one called upload, I guess. So to set the file to the endpoint called upload, which would receive the file. First off, probably validate it because we can't trust these teachers to upload the correct thing all the time. So validate that has do you want to check if it has all the sheets? Maybe you want to be flexible, so once they decide to add in different subjects and stuff, it would work. But then do we also want it to print random stuff? Like the sheets it didn't give me has extra sheets that are not needed. So I was thinking we would have a list of sheet names that are allowed. So yeah, if you want to update it, you can tell us and we update the server. So yes, he uploads. We verify that all the columns we are expecting in the sheets we are expecting are all there. Then we continue. If not, we send him an error message, which if we remember in README, we indicated that we would have some place on the front end to show error messages. There's nothing more annoying to users than not seeing when something is wrong with the page. Like they know something is wrong because they didn't do what they expected, but you have to show them what went wrong. If you can show them what they were supposed to do, but ain't nobody got time for that. So we show you what went wrong. In this case, will be a message saying the columns are invalid, or I don't know, something. We are deciding this on the fly as we go. Okay, so the other endpoints would be a post. So there are various kinds of endpoints, which the correct term would be HTTP methods. So we have get, post, put, patch, and delete. So get is usually like this one, is like just get stuff. Usually is how you get data from various endpoints. So say if you wanted to get your PSN ID or your PSN information from PSN, they would have some endpoint, maybe api.psn.com, blah blah blah, and you hit it with a get request and returns you the data. Usually browsers only do gets. Like when you type in twitter.com, it sends a get to twitter.com and they return you the HTML for your profile or your feed or whatever it's called. So that's what get does. Usually just to get data. Then there's a post. Post is similar to get, the main difference being you send along data. So when you're on some pages and you do a login, it posts your login details to some server. So it will post your username and password to the server. So same as get, just sends data along. The idea being to go and create something or receive data. So if I'm registering for some site, it's a post. If you are logging in, it's a post. Yep. Then there's put. Put is usually to either update or create. Mostly we use it for an update, a full update. So let's say you are changing your profile information on Twitter, it would send a put with the new information. Put and patch are about the same. It's just, people argue that put should be the entire data. So if you are changing your profile on Twitter and their system sends, let's say I change just my name, but it sends the whole profile including the name change back to the server, that should be a put. But if it sends only the name that has changed to the server, that should be a patch. If you do that with a put or a patch, like the system won't break or anything, but if I see a patch endpoint, I'll assume I'm just sending only the data that has changed. If I see a put, I'll assume I have to send everything. So it's nice to stick to it, but all these are standards and guidelines. If you don't do, aside from maybe get, which doesn't receive data, post, put, patch, or receive data, you can interchange them if you want, if you're a psycho. But yeah, some people are psychos. I know certain endpoints that use post for everything, so it's up to you. And delete is almost the same as a get as well. It's just that we also assume if you send anything to a delete, it means you want to delete this particular resource. So yeah, that's it. You can read more again. I'm probably not explaining it very well, but you can read more. So in this case, since we are sending the Excel sheet to the server, we will use a post. And the endpoint we'll be posting to is upload. Now somebody's probably asking, what is this rec and res thing? So JavaScript. So if you've done some programming, you've probably heard of functions. So server.post is a function. So what you're saying is, hey server, I want to do a post. Server is like, okay, cool. What path do you want to post to, or which endpoint do you want to post to? But I want to call it upload. Like, okay, that's fine, upload, that's cool, I know that one. So when somebody uploads, what do you want me to do? So this is a function, this part in blue, that tells the server that, okay, cool, once the data is uploaded, do something. So if you see this one, is like, hey server, I want a path with the slash, that's the whole path. I want it to be get. Server, like, okay, cool, what do you want to do when we get the file? So that's the function that does that. Exactly, when you get the file, I want to read index.html with this encoding and send it back to the user. Simple. So for this one, that's what we'll do when we get the data. So read Excel file, validate Excel file, sorry about that. Parse means to read and extract the data. So parse Excel file from text to JSON objects. I mentioned JSON earlier. That's how to spell JSON for when you're googling it. So now we have JSON objects, which would be each I'm thinking of an object like this. Let me go to another file. So like I mentioned earlier, let me say this as food.json. We have you can have an array, which is a 2 square bracket. That's a group of things. Or you can have an object. Now in the object you can also have an array, like it goes just Google JSON. So I'm thinking we have each subject, and then it can go 2 ways. Right now the way how the utility work is we have each subject and then the results for all the students in that subject. But I'm thinking in the end we'll be creating the sheets per student, so why don't we do that already? So you will have the student's name, so let's say name, name David Odoye, that's not pronounced, and then results, of course. Nobody cares, nobody sees it anyway. So results. If we look at the Excel sheet, Abdul whatever has test 1, group work, blah blah blah. So these are his results for creative arts. Then he has the exact same thing for citizenship, mathematics, blah blah blah. So we need to have all of that for all the subjects, which is going to be strange. Is it going to be strange? Yes, it is going to be strange. Okay, now we'll see as we go. Initially, I have the data right now as so creative arts. Then we have yes course. I think so. Anyway, like I said, we'll go as we go. So this we'll pass the data into some JSON, then we'll figure it out. Let me delete this since we don't actually need it. Goodbye. So pass Excel, pass file, blah 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 blah. Create PDFs, add into one folder, zip set folder. This is the part I am torn on. Return folder as zip. Now all this could take probably 10 seconds, but then when the user clicks upload, the page will be waiting for 10 seconds for something to return. That's where I have an issue with. At work, what we usually do is you do something where you need to get some zip or a report or something. We end it there, so it lasts like half a second or whatever. Then we send you an email once it's done with the results. But then again, that is kind of when it doesn't work, you don't get an email telling you it didn't work. So it's like, congratulations, your report will be generated and emailed to you shortly. 5 days go by and nothing comes by. It goes into your spam. Like, I don't know. So try it directly with a zip and see how long it takes. If it takes too long, we'll have to revert to the sending the report as email approach. Okay. So like I mentioned, I have the utility function to read the Excel sheet here already. So I'll run that and show you what the data looks like from the Excel sheet into JSON. So if you started learning JavaScript, you probably saw var for variables. So in JavaScript, you can have a variable starting with var, so var variable equals data. You can have let's variable equals data. Yeah, all that. So you can have var, let, or const. The difference being var and let are about the same. There is block scoping. We don't want to confuse you. Const also means once I say const port equals 3000. If I try and do port equals 4000 now, the person will be like, whoa, you said port is a constant, why are you trying to change it? So we just do const. So don't change it. Ideally, don't have to change anything, but that's the only reason we use const. It could have been var or let, and everything would have been fine. If you want to read more, we're going to read on scoping, especially. I think, yeah, you don't want to read about anything about scoping to explain why you want to use var and let and all that. This is not a programming tutorial. Onto it. So we read the file with the utility. What's the name of the utility? Sheets to array. Sheets. Autocomplete. Please. Okay, did it. So let's export that module as well. So utilities. That's for utilities. So we are requiring the utilities file. So this is the path to the file. If it's not a module you are pulling, just give it a path. So we have utilities. So utilities should have the sheets to array. Thank you, editor. And in the sheets to array, you tell, in this example, we have sheets path. You tell the function where the sheet is located. Now in future, this will come from the upload, where we'll use something called multr, multdr. But let's do the file for now. We use the local file here, make sure the backend works. Then once we get into the upload part, we'll deal with receiving the file from the front end, uploading it to a temporary directory to work on it. Once we are done, then we'll delete the file. Or probably work with it in memory. We'll see. I don't know as of now. So the path is, it's right there, data.xlxx. XLSX. Then you can also pass in the sheets we allow. I've already passed them in the functions. You don't need to do it here. You can see the question mark means it is optional. Also, you can read a lot of functions to find out about that. So, so we can see the data. I'll return it in res.json. What did I call it? Variable. Shouldn't be called variable. Who cares? Let's make this a get so we can access it from the browser. If you remember, I said get. You can access that one directly from the browser. So let's restart our server. What happened? Alright, upload. Sorry. Yay, that just looks nasty. So let's put it in a file. Oh, why is it on incognito? That should be in, because it's not like 1 p.m. or anything. I mean 1 a.m. Chromium. Yes, this looks much better. So we went from this to that. So in creative arts, we have all the students and all their scores. Minimize creative arts. Can I do that here? No, I cannot. Oh, I can. Then we have citizenship, education, mathematics, blah blah blah. So the idea being, we have each student and their score. So once we are, this has just taken that data and shaped it into this. Ideally, we should have it per student. So once we are generating a PDF, I'll have to figure out a way of grouping this per student. Which the student, if the student had an ID, I'll use that. But it looks like, unless there are two students with the same name, which I hope not, we can use the names to group them. You can't always trust the data that comes from the user. You could have said every first item would be Abdul Hakim Benin, but it just takes one teacher to swap them, then all hell breaks loose. So we'll find every student called Abdul Hakim, and we'll massage the data into the correct format before we generate the PDF. Okay. So now we are sure we are getting our data correctly. Let's go back to our post. Don't return it as where is the place. So let's call it data. We should probably validate before we read. This is going to be a page to validate. Okay, actually it is not. If you look at the library I'm using to read the sheets, there's a function called sheet names or something. Yeah, that gets us the sheet names. Then we have the header row. From here you can read through it if you want it. I'll push it to GitHub and add the link to the video so you can go read the code. So in headers, that gives us the headers, these guys. The sex, name, test 1, group, blah blah blah. So we can have a list of all the headers we are expecting. So just check if all the headers are there. If they are, that's fine. What is 0.5? Is that correct header? It's after class core. Okay, 50%. I don't know how it is. 50% is technically 0.5, so I don't know why it's called 0.5. Anyway, we can deal with that later. So yeah, we can have a list of all the headers we expect. I'll leave that out for now, but yeah, we should validate that if possible. I don't want to make this any longer than it is. So that has to be the first thing. Let me make that a to-do for later. Okay. So we have this, we have it in objects. So now we need to create the PDFs. Now, the way to create PDFs on a server is usually to render an HTML page, then create a PDF. It sounds very simple, but yeah, that's the way to do it. So we need to have, when you are on the server, when you are on your PC, it's easy to probably use videos. It's called Brass. So you can go to any page and then print it. Right, you print, you save as PDF. That's basically what we are doing, but programmatically. So we create an HTML file with the report, and then we print it. But then usually the server doesn't have memory to running the whole UI and all that, so we run it in a headless form. So it runs the browser just that you don't see it. So the way to run that is something called Puppeteer. It's made by Google, or the Google Chrome team, and it's basically Chrome, but as in a small package you can use on the server. I always come here because I can't spell Puppeteer properly. Yes. So let's install Puppeteer. Oh, that takes a while, so let's not push it. Now, yes, example, create a PDF. So this one goes to some page, blah 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 blah. Let's steal it. See, it's now downloading fucking Chrome. Anywho, let's paste this here. But we are not using async await because I don't want to confuse anybody anymore. So let's take out semicolons. I hate semicolons. Yes, I'm bougie. Okay. So this book will make an explaining again. So far we've been working with functions that are pretty much synchronous. So everything goes top to bottom. For here for instance, you read the file, that's the same. You use the file, blah blah blah. But some things are not asynchronous. You need to wait for them to happen. Like visiting a website, it's not as much you type the pay and press enter, it works, unless you're on like Google Fiber or something. Even now, you still have to wait. So a lot of the things we use what we call promises. So think of it as a function promising that, oh yeah, I'll do this thing, I promise. So it's a promise, you wait for the promise to be fulfilled. Somebody rang my bell. Of course somebody rang the bell. Okay. So this is a little bit advanced, but you don't have a choice. So the first one to do is Puppeteer, but let me copy the name. First one to import Puppeteer, or to be like, dude, what is this Puppeteer you speak of? So, and my console also just came on. What the fuck, man? Puppeteer, console go off. It's not time. Okay. So Puppeteer.launch launches a browser, pretty much simple. So once that is done, then, like I said, with the post, it's like I want to do this. So when that happens, do this. So like Puppeteer launches, then do what? So we give it another function. So this is a function. Man, teaching programming might be really hard. Dude, relax. So then we get the browser. Then what do we do with the browser? We open the page. Like when you open Chrome, that's what you do. You open the browser, open the page. Usually it does it at the same time. So yeah. So open the browser, you open the page. You can guess what's next. Then so Puppeteer launches, then gives out a browser. The browser also opens the page, then gives out the page. Then what the hell, man? I'm pausing this. How do we pause? Fuck it. There's part 1. Stand by for part 2.